The honourable member for Saanich Gulf Islands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Merci. C'est un grand honneur pour moi.
Thank you, and it's a great honor for me to speak this afternoon and to pay tribute to my friend, my colleague, the member for King's Hands. We've been friends for a long time.
I remember as Executive Director of Sierra Club of Canada going to meet with the Tory caucus to talk about Kyoto. The Progressive Conservative caucus, the wonderful Right Honourable Joe Clark, the environment critic of the day, John Herron, and our friend from King's Hands never suggested for one moment there was any question about the science of climate change. We had a respectful hearing and a good conversation, as was always the case. So I was perhaps not surprised that he left the Progressive Conservative caucus. I, of course, had hoped that he would become leader of the Green Party, so I wouldn't have to. But unfortunately, as it turned out, he went to the Liberals, and as we know, it is a storied history of 22 years. And thanks to the wonderful speeches we've already heard from the Minister of Public Safety, our friend from Milton, and I'm sure the member for King's Hands is thinking, yeah, it would take two girls from Cape Breton to give him a proper sign-off to the member from the Valley. But, and also, of course, our friend from Esquimalt, Saanich Sooke, also a great champion of LGBTQ rights, and our député de Beaulieu. Nous sommes ensemble ici.
And the member for Beaulieu. We're here today because the member for King's Hands is leaving, and he's honorable, respected, and loved by everyone from all parties in this place.
Sorry to see him go, and we have talked of his great contributions in terms of public policy, but if you'll excuse me, Mr. Speaker, I used to sit rather close to the member for King's Hands in the 41st Parliament. My seat hasn't moved. I take his point that there are no bad seats in the House of Commons, and I should know. But I do remember his repartee. I disapprove strongly, as you know, Mr. Speaker, of heckling. But there was a style and a grace and a panache to the approach of the member for King's Hands that I would never regret. So if you will, Mr. Speaker, from memory, something of the K-Tel greatest hits of the member from King's Hands from memory. As far as I can remember, he was the first member to begin something which is now routine, which is when you get a lobbing of a softball question from your own backbenches and you're a minister. The questions are generally the order of, the minister is certainly magnificent today. Can the minister tell us how much more magnificent he might be by tomorrow? But as those questions were lobbed, the member for King's Hands would invariably say, "Watch out! It's a trick question." And then he would follow up with the inevitable, "Don't forget to thank the member and all his or her hard work back in the riding." But my favorite, and usually in a repartee with our friend, the member for Carleton, when he was a minister, and the member for King's Hands was in opposition, would be, "Our child care policies here on the Conservative benches draw on the expertise of mom and dad." To which the member for King's Hands would say, "What about dad and dad?" Well, we're going to miss him around here, not least for the fact that there's nobody who can stand on his or her feet and make it sound like a comedy routine to say, "Yes, Mr. Speaker, the bill is in its proper form." How the heck that was funny, I will never know. But to the member for King's Hands, please, come to my wedding and tell me when the picnic's going to be in Chevery. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.